All right, so now we got this next one. This is a water source heat pump. It's a carrier unit. Some model number there. So they just called saying this unit isn't heating. So this is a water source heat pump. We're getting tempered, warm-ish water here because this is our evaporator now. So we need to heat it up a little bit. So we're using the loop water, and we warmed it up outside. It actually bypasses the cooling tower, goes to the boiler, and then sends it through here just at a like 70-ish degree water, just so that we can not frost up that coil and burst it. So this one, it gets one, I believe that's the supply. Either that's the supply and that's the return. There's just one in, one out. So these are small, like 1-ton units, and they just feed individual patient rooms here. So let's see what's going on. Let's say we got a rapid flashing on P2. Looks like the fast flash is a lockout. Okay, so just looking at this thing, I already checked my high pressure switch here. It's closed. My low pressure switch is also closed. These are freeze thermostat or freeze thermistors. So I don't think yeah, these ones are always gonna have continuity. And this bottom one's my reversing valve. But what I'm noticing here is right back there, we got oil. There. Maybe not, I'm not sure. Okay, so we just fired off. My suction pressure is going to the tank. This thing's gonna freeze. Something's plugged up. It's not going to run long enough for me to get a filter dryer to drop. Something's plugged up here. Either the TXV's super closed down or the dryer's plugged up. Yeah, this thing ain't gonna run. Okay, so I got the top off of it. And it looks like this thing's been worked on before. If I had to take a guess, it'd be that somebody replaced this TXV. Just because they also did the dryer. So I'm kind of thinking, and also that's not factory. That glove stuff right there on the sensing bulb, that's not factory. And neither is this glove. But I'm thinking this dryer is probably plugged. I'm gonna try to test it, but probably just gonna go for it, changing that dryer, because TXVs don't really go bad. I got my probes on either side of the filter dryer. Now what I'm gonna do is check my line temps to see if I get a big difference across them when it starts up. Okay, we just fired up. We build up decent head pressure, but our low side just tanks. So I'm thinking I got some kind of low side restriction. It's got to be either that TXV or the dryer. Something's plugged. I get my suction line temperature, measuring across that dryer that's on the low side, and my water flow is freezing at the inlet. Something's plugged. I think my TXV is not opening up enough. My sensing bulb is mounted here on the true suction line. Not very well, but it's mounted. But yeah, that TXV gets frosted up because that's on the low side of this that filter dryer gets frosted up, I mean, because on the low side is TXV. I'm not really sure. So looking at the piping diagram, it is supposed to have filter dryer, and there's only one metering device, this TXV. That's TXV is terribly mounted. I'm gonna have to redo that. I wonder where they had the no pressure switch originally. That TXV equalizer line's probably not even in there. It's like sticking out. I might want to redo that. Yeah, this TXV got replaced. Not very well. I don't think this equalization line is in there correctly. It's probably just on the surface or plugged up for that matter. Let me see it. Okay, I'm gonna pull the charge, take the dryer out, replace the dryer, take that TXV equalization line out, redo that, remount this TXV sensing bulb. Okay, so now I've started recovery. I'm gonna pull the charge out and see what I do here. I got the hoses hooked up here, and then I got a long hose that reaches the ground with my recovery tank. Okay, I'm working on getting this more accessible. I got the electrical compartment kind of out of the way. I'm gonna take these reversing valve wires off. I'm gonna end up redoing these anyway, so these sensors I could just take off. Okay, I got everything all cleared out. What I'm gonna do is unbraze this dryer here, and then I'm gonna unbraze this equalization line on this TXV. And then after I do that, I am purging nitrogen. After I do that, I'm gonna blow both ways through the TXV, try to maybe get anything else that might be lodged in there. It's a good practice. I got my hose strung out and my tanks. Okay, I got the equalizer brazed in. I'm blowing through my discharge line with 275 PSI, and I'm not getting much flow going backwards to this TXV. So if this filter dryer thing doesn't change it, I'd be going for the TXV as a restriction. Okay, I got my new dryer in. New dryer is in. Not the best, but should hold. And now I'm gonna get everything hooked back up properly. That way I can sense temperature correctly, because this thing wasn't even hooked up right. But yeah, we're gonna do that while we're holding pressure tests. Okay, pressure test was good. Now point of vacuum, I'm down to 760. And I'm getting everything put back together. That way once I'm ready to charge it, I should be good to start it up as well. Okay, so I'm back again. After I replaced the filter dryer and got everything set up last time, I went for the dryer because that was what I had on my truck, and the other option that I had was the TXV. And knowing that the TXV bulb is the opening force on the TXV, and I also knew that it had been recently replaced, I kind of had ruled it out. But because it was recently replaced is why it went bad. I didn't notice this, but now it's super obvious. We got a rub out right here on the TXV sensing bulb. So we lost the refrigerant charge in the power head of this TXV, and that made it to where it would not give an opening force and push down the spring in the TXV. So I wasn't letting any refrigerant pass through. Looking back, it's super obvious, but whoopsie. So today we got the TXV and we're gonna change it. I don't remember how this sensing bulb was routed before because I rerouted it when I did the repair, the initial repair. So it must have rubbed out on something. I'll try to see if there's something else that has some wear marks on it. Or this possibly was an arc, I'm not really sure. Got it all brazed in. Again, not the prettiest, but that should do it. All right, now time for the pressure test. Okay, so got it all charged up. TXV is replaced. Now I'm gonna go ahead and turn the power back on to this guy. And I'm gonna see if I'm getting a call for cooling or heating. So I'm gonna go from common to yellow. And I'm getting a call for heat. My orange is gonna be my reversing valve for cool. I'm not getting a call for that. So this thing should kick on in heating mode and my fan is running. So it has a bit of a time delay, but it should kick on. And this is the filter that I pulled out of it. So this is the return side with the filter slot right up there up top. So yeah, we should fire off and then I should be able to get my temperature differential. Okay, we just kicked on. We are flowing water. You can feel temperature differential. Usually we like to keep these about 10 degrees between the in and the out. I think I'm just gonna be happy with this guy because we got some warm discharge saturation here. And we are not freezing on our low side. So I'll let this guy run for a little bit longer and then it will end up being just fine. And got to get a new filter. This thing's running pretty hot, but I do have an 80-degree return. They have space heaters in the room that this serves. They got an 80-degree return and like 110-degree supply. So this thing seems to be doing its job, but it is running hotter than I'd like to see it. I believe that'd be because the return air temperature is warm. It'll keep climbing. I think they have this thermostat set up for like 85 right now, so I'll go ahead and bring that down. But I think we're kicking butt. Just a little too warm. Okay, just fired off in cooling mode. Let that run for a little while, see what happens. In cooling mode, we are kicking butt. Should be good to go.